You know, you said massive, and that is true. It was intense, it was hot, and it was dangerous. There are houses across the street on the other side, and if you look closely, we see embers flying everywhere.
This is by far the scariest thing I have ever done.
A lot of people still talking about the anger at the polls, and a lot of people of the opinion that the voters will not stand for the commission to appoint a mayor.
Nobody else gets that kind of treatment. What was that all about? I mean, you helped him put a hat on, you helped him put his towel on his face, you helped him pull in a different place. If I was arrested, you wouldn't do that, would you?
How much paper is that? The county says it was using 650,000 pieces of paper every year. 12 times this much. This report isn't supposed to be released until tomorrow, but we have a copy of it tonight, and it is a critical report. Neighbors fighting the city, and it's about this building towering over their neighborhood. They say this fight isn't about their view, it's about their property values.
U.S. and Canada were flying over the border today, talking with CBP Air and Marine Branch.
This is the yellow lot. This is what all of the other parking lots here at the airport look like.
They say they're going to be out here. It's an excuse for them to party and, you know, a bit anticlimactic, but you know what? It's not the end of the world, which means we'll see you at 11. We're live, Silva Harapetian on CBS 4 News. Leaving from Dade County Jail with some VIP treatment, trying to avoid the cameras, rapper Flo Rida escorted out by his entourage. Flo Rida, his real name Tremar Dillard, seen here in his music videos. Busted for drinking and driving, police say his alcohol level was twice the legal limit at .185.
Don't make a scene.
Early Thursday morning, Flo Rida was pulled over in his $2 million 2008 Bugatti near 5th and Lenox Avenue in South Beach. He was arrested on DUI charges and driving with a license, suspended for failing to pay traffic tickets.
You know, we always advise people if they're going to come out and entertain here on our Miami Beach, they should either take a taxi or get a driver. And of course, this could be a tragic incident.
At the scene, his entourage not too happy about the cameras capturing the incident.
Put your hand on my shoulder.
And at the jail again, his entourage not too happy with the cameras, but Flo Rida seemed to be receiving some VIP treatment from a Dade County correction officer, Corporal Darlene Brownville, who helped direct traffic, positioning his Escalade on the wrong side of the street. Listen to her. You can see her talking with his entourage, but what you didn't see is her giving high fives followed by kisses on the cheek. We wanted to know what that was all about. Nobody else gets that kind of treatment. What was that all about? I mean, you helped him put a hat on, you helped him put his towel on his face, you helped him pull in a different place. If I was arrested, you wouldn't do that, would you? Ma'am? Ma'am?
Door 5.
Can I get your name, ma'am? That really wasn't fair treatment, was it?
And back here live, we've called the Miami-Dade Detention Rehab Center, and we have not received a comment about what seemed like VIP treatment. We've also reached out to Flo Rida's attorneys, and they have sent us a note that says until they have an opportunity to meet with their client and conduct their own investigation, they will not be making any comments. We're live in Miami Beach. Silva Harapetian on CBS 4 News. You know, this fire was hot, it was intense, and you know, you can still smell it in the air. It smells something like a rubber burn meets fuel fire. So this is pretty intense, an investigation continuing now, fortunately under control, but this will affect some travel. A fuel fire burning uncontrollably at Miami International Airport's fuel farm. The flames shooting high, black smoke clouding the sky, the view impressive from miles away. The fuel farm on the southeast corner of the airport houses 6 fuel tanks, each holding 1 million gallons of fuel. A malfunction near one of the fuel pipelines sparked the fire, sent the Miami-Dade Fire Department into high gear.
Firefighters were working in an area with hundreds of thousands of gallons on all sides of them and trying to get foam on there to prevent the flames from coming up. And in addition, we were putting water onto these other static tanks to prevent those from boiling over.
The foam contained the fumes and the water kept the other tanks cool until the fire was out. Disaster diverted.
And the plan today did work. This was a very significant fire, but we were able to prevent that fire from spreading out of the immediate area of the tank farm, and that's why the airport was designed that way, to keep that isolated away from passengers.
The fuel farm and the fuel pumps that supply fuel to the planes in and out of the airport are shut down. Airport administrators now on a backup plan.
Only capability right now is to truck, if you will, the fuel to the airport. So therefore, it's going to have an impact, you know, on the on-time performance of the outgoing aircraft.
Flight delays are expected, but Commissioner Joe Martinez says airport and airlines working to prevent major delays.
All the airlines are cooperating as far as we know, and they're topping up in other areas prior to coming here.
Back here live at this time, investigation continuing, so they have no idea when the pipeline will be reopened. In the meantime, they will be trucking in fuel to the planes at every gate. At this time, we have not seen any delays, but they suggest if you're traveling, best thing to do is call your airline before you actually get to the airport to make sure that there is no significant delay. We're live. Silva Harapetian, CBS 4 News this morning. The image is almost unreal. Smoke tornadoes, unpredictable weather. Take a look at the lightning and the storm that brought the rain, changing the scenery dramatically.
Somebody said a prayer and it was answered, but it wasn't me because I wanted the fire to burn.
This is Keith Jones. He owns Max Fish Camp. Fire was moving in his direction. Firefighters were setting backfires to protect him and other residents in the area.
Between the high grass, it's still in the front, and the high grass, it's still in the back. Actually, I'm less relieved at the fact that the fires didn't get intentionally set here today, because now we still have a threat from both sides. You know?
Are you ever worried for the camp?
I have a lot of faith, so honestly, I'm not. We've been through it before.
Keith and his family have been at Max Fish Camp for 5 generations. He knows this land. Even the alligators are family. He's been through more than a dozen wildfires in his lifetime and is not worried. He says he's got a plan of action.
It's like being in a war and you're standing on the line and you're waiting for your turn to get into the action. All fire rescues that come out with their water trucks that are, and they stand here, they have their lines dropped in the canal, and they'll wet the roofs and wet the grass behind everything.
Making sure all of his equipment is safe, he moved all of his boats from the swamp back here closer to the canal. They may look clear, but Keith doesn't think the fire is completely out. He'll be keeping an eye on this fire that so far burned 58,000 acres. In West Miami-Dade, Silva Harapetian, CBS 4 News. 23-year-old Raul Hernandez, and he's been in fact arrested on unrelated charges. We're told he had a warrant out for driving without a license. In fact, we have a copy of his traffic record. He has 16 violations. At this point, police say unless they can put him behind the wheel, this case is still open.
It's unreal. This is a nightmare. I'm gonna wake up.
Still in disbelief, a daughter of 71-year-old Ana Zuniga pleads for witnesses to come forward. Zuniga was killed yesterday morning while she drove to her daily cleaning job at a Coco Plum home. It was a route she took every morning, leaving early to avoid traffic, praying an hour before getting on the road.
This was not the way it was supposed to happen, and
her daughter calls her rigid, but a woman with a big heart, orphaned at an early age, raised by nuns, 71-year-old grandmother of 3, became a professional cleaning lady. She raised the daughter Patricia and her son Gustavo on her own. At 71, she was healthy and active.
She actually asked me if I thought she was going to leave to see my daughter's wedding. And I told her, of course, you have like 20 more years at least. And I feel very, very cheated.
Cheated, this daughter says, from having more time with her mother, now desperately seeking justice for information that will put a driver behind the wheel of the white pickup truck that caused the crash. An anonymous tip led police to this man, 23-year-old Raul Hernandez. He's being called a person of interest. He was arrested on unrelated charges. Police found his white pickup truck matching the description of the truck involved in the crash. Police say the damage on his truck matches what they would expect, but they need witnesses that will put Hernandez behind the wheel.
In my experience, it is basically more difficult to actually charge somebody with a hit and run than it actually is a murder.
It happened to you, you know. It happened to us now, so please help us. You know, it could be your mom.
And he says it could be your mom, so they're asking for witnesses to come forward. One more thing, detectives are reviewing red light cameras off of US 1. They're hoping to see who exactly was behind the wheel. We will keep you updated as we get more information on this story. We're live. Silva Harapetian, CBS 4 News.
Silva, thank you for that live report.
The weather's going to get warm. In fact, they've told us they're going to put us in the water and show us how to survive in case of an emergency. So we're going to get suited up. Come on in.
Point your toe like this, and
Okay.
you're going to push it down into the boot.
This is heavy. We lose body heat a lot faster in the water.
25 times faster. Like your expected time of survival is somewhere between 12 to 15 hours.
After getting off the ladder, walking slowly on the ice, the lieutenant tells me, if you fall through, don't panic. You can see my hesitation.
This is by far the scariest thing I have ever done. Okay, how do you get up?
Let the air out of it.
How cold is this water?
It's about 30 degrees.
30 degrees.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right? I'm going to show you how.
How?
What you do is...
Because I'm sliding and slipping and this ice is breaking. I have no help. I'm connected, just in case, but they're not helping me get out, so I gotta think I can do it myself.
After a few minutes, panic sets in. I realize if this were a real situation, if this were happening for real, I would not be able to pull myself out. That's when I was introduced to something that's known as a fisherman's rosary. It can be practically anything that's sharp. Fishermen usually hang it around their neck. In life-threatening moments like this one, the fisherman's rosary is there and my only hope.
This is a controlled environment. In case something were to happen, I can get pulled out. Fishermen out there, if you don't have one of these, even though you're in shallow water,
Your extremities would just shut down. Your body would shut down with blood going to your extremities to keep your vital organs warm, so your hands and feet would be useless.
so you can't really kick the way I needed to kick to get out.
Not if your feet were hypothermia.
Wow, what an experience. I gotta tell you, there was a moment of sheer panic there where I couldn't pull myself out. Okay, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
You know, I learned something very important today. No fish caught on the ice is ever worth going through that experience in real life. Believe me, you don't want to experience it, and I had professionals around me, so very important lesson. Okay, let's go home.